everybody, I'm Becky, and I can be found as Becky Burns Gibson on Pinterest, Instagram, and Ravelry. Welcome to this podcast. Today we're doing the McCalls 6696 sew-along, and we're on part 2, which is cutting out the fabric and interfacing. So you're going to see my family in the background shot some, and you're going to see my dog some, and you might even hear my dog. But that's because I do this at my kitchen table or in my sunroom, which is my sewing room. The McCalls 6696 shirt dress is a wonderful pattern. So if you're going to sew this shirt dress, you've picked a really good one. And I hope you enjoy my sew-alongs. I do intend them to be beginner friendly. So let's go. Okay, I have traced out all of my pattern pieces. I've cut out all my tracings and I'm ready to cut out my fabric. So I have a length of 44 inch, well, a width of 44 inches on my fabric. And I'm going to start by cutting out the largest piece first. And I'm having to fold my fabric over like this so that I can fit the entire piece onto the fabric to cut it out. And I've also got room for piece number 3, the bodice front here. In your pattern instructions, there are cutting directions, how to lay out your fabric and your pattern pieces on your fabric in the most economical way to use the least amount of fabric. But I don't enjoy doing it that way. I enjoy buying extra fabric and just placing it the way that it makes sense to me. So that's what I will be doing, and I will be cutting out the largest pieces first and then make my way down to fitting the remainder. I have a total of 8 yards of fabric, so I have plenty of fabric to cut out all my pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin down my traced pattern pieces. I'm going to use a ruler to line up the grain line with the selvage so that it's parallel to the selvage. I'm going to cut out the fabric. Now you can cut out using a good pair of fabric shears. But I will not be doing that. I will be using a rotary cutter. It's my preferred method of cutting. But if you have a rotary cutter, you have to have a cutting mat. So I'm going to be using my snips to snip my notches, and I'm also going to be using my snips to snip into the legs of the pleats. I'm not going to mark them with a marker. I'm going to snip into them, and that's the way that I'm going to mark my pleat lines. And then I will be using a water-soluble marker. This one's made by Clover. I'll be using a water-soluble marker to draw the arrows. I'm going to draw the arrows within the seam allowance, and that way I will know which way to fold my pleats. And I will be marking my circles with the water-soluble marker. This is a really good marker. All I have to do is, after I get the dress made, if there's any visible marks on the fabric, I just use a wet wash rag and wipe them off. It's really easy. If you have a dark fabric and the blue will not show up on the fabric, then you can use a piece of chalk on a dark fabric. Also, if you have a directional print, you're going to have to be careful how your fabric is lying. But I have a non-directional print, so mine can be upside down and you can't tell it. Also, whenever you cut your fabric, it needs to be cut so that, well, some people say that you need to have the wrong sides facing out and the right sides touching each other. But I like to have the wrong sides touching each other and the right sides facing out. But they do need to be opposite from one another so that when you cut out your pattern piece, your pattern pieces are opposite from one another. If they're laying on top of each other, like right side, wrong side, right side, wrong side, then you're going to end up with an identical piece, two identical pieces, and that's not what you want. You want two opposite pieces. This is the skirt front. You want a right side of the skirt front, and you want a left side of the skirt front. Okay, so let's get started. So this may go without saying, but don't forget to mark on both sides of your fabric, both pieces of your fabric, I mean, not both sides. A lot of people say that you need to mark your the wrong side of the fabric. Place your markings on the wrong side of your fabric. But I really don't like to do it that way. I like to place my markings on the right side of my fabric with a water-soluble marker, and I can just wipe them off later. So remember when you're drawing your arrows for your pleats to turn it over and draw in your arrows. And draw in your arrows within the seam allowance. And then maybe you won't even have to try to remove them later. So when we mark our circles, we're going to use a pen. We're going to place the pen in the circle and let it go all the way through both pieces of material. And then we can see where we need to mark our circle. And now I know from making this dress before that I'm going to need to mark the circle on both the outside and the inside of the fabric. But this way you get an accurate mark. Okay, so the way that we're going to mark our darts is we're going to cut into the legs of the darts, both of the darts. We're going to use our pen and our water-soluble marker. And we're going to mark the top of the dart on both pieces of fabric. Okay, and next we're going to use our ruler. And we are going to draw in the legs of the darts from the top point that we just marked down to the leg, down to the bottom of the leg where we cut into it. This way we have a line that we can follow when we are sewing the dart. Be sure to mark it on both sides. Actually, I mean on both pieces of fabric. So I have laid out to cut piece number 5, the yoke back. Piece number 6, the sleeve. Number 18, the collar. Number 19, the collar band. So all of these we're cutting 2 of each. And we're also going to cut the pocket. The pocket we're going to cut 4. So we're going to lay it out twice and cut it. Okay, on piece number 5, be sure to mark your center back. That's going to be important. Again, these marks will be removable whenever you finish your garment. Also mark your center back on piece number 18, the collar, and piece number 19, the collar band. Okay, now pattern piece number 4, the bodice back. You cut it on the fold. So got your fabric folded. There's no grain line on this piece because it's cut on the fold. Okay, make sure to mark your center back on piece number 4, the bodice back. Make sure to mark your center back on piece number 9, the band. Make sure to mark just the end pieces of your fold line on piece number 17, the front band. Okay, now we have cut out all of our fabric and we're getting ready to cut out our interfacing. So piece number 9, we cut out one piece of interfacing. That's for the band. Piece number 17, the front band, we cut out 2 pieces of interfacing. Piece number 18, the collar, we cut 1 piece of interfacing. Piece number 19, the collar band, we cut 1 piece of interfacing. And I buy my interfacing from Walmart and Joann's. So at Walmart I buy heat bond fusible interfacing, medium weight, and it says on it for shirt collars and buttonholes. I either got this at Joann's or Walmart. It's Pellon style 906F, fusible sheer weight interfacing. Great to use in sheer to lightweight fabrics, soft and drapable, cut in any direction. Collars, cuffs, pockets, and fronts. Okay, so we have cut out all of our interfacing and we're going to attach it to the fabric. So for pattern pieces 18, 19, and 9, we cut out one piece of interfacing and we only attach it to one of the pieces of fabric. So here I'm going to use piece number 18. So I'm going to take one piece of fabric and set it aside. Then I'm going to take the other piece of fabric and lie it wrong side up. And this interfacing has a right side and a wrong side. So it has a bumpy side or a sticky side where the glue is, and then it has a smooth side. You want to put the bumpy side against the fabric, smooth side up, and iron it. A lot of people use an ironing cloth when they iron their interfacing onto their fabric so that you don't melt the interfacing and glue, but I don't do that. I just use my iron and I press lightly and I press fast. And once you got it down, you can press a little harder to really get it attached. Really get that glue melted and attached to the fabric. Now for piece number 9, my interfacing was not long enough for the piece, so I had to cut another shorter piece for the end. And you can do this if your interfacing is not long enough. You can piece it together and it's not going to hurt anything. It's going to be like it's just one piece once you get it ironed on. So we're going to continue to iron these down. Okay, now we're going to interface piece number 17, the front band. This one we're going to interface both pieces. We have cut 2 of the interfacing. And we're going to iron these down on both pieces, wrong side up and bumpy side down. Thank you for joining me on the McCalls 6696 sew along as we have cut the fabric and the interfacing. Join me for the next podcast as we assemble the bodice. If you like what you've seen today, please click the like button. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, bye-bye.